It was the winter of 1882 in Budapest, and a young engineer was falling apart. The sound of a watch 3 rooms away was ticking in his ear, and his whole body shook from the sound of a carriage over 3 miles away. He stood his bed on rubber cushions to be able to get any rest, and when he spoke to a physician, they had no cure to offer him. His name was Nikola Tesla, and the winter of 1882 was particularly hard on him. A friend of his who was an athlete got him walking and functional again, and slowly his health came back. And one evening, while the two of them were out in the park, reciting poems out loud, which was a thing that he did, he saw a machine fully formed in his head, a spinning magnetic field. This was the same machine that would later put electricity into every household on earth. The same senses of his, which gave him insight on how electricity would work, were also the same senses which almost drove him mad and made him believe he was sick all the time. In this video, I want to explore the dark side of the creative life through the eyes of those who've lived it, and how the same senses which make you create and think up of things which don't exist yet are also the same ones which hamper your ability to live a life which everyone else takes for granted. Suffering is the sole origin of consciousness. Fyodor Dostoevsky. Charles Darwin, the man who figured out that humans and apes come from the same ancestor. The man who came up with a theory of evolution could not sit through a conversation. His son Francis wrote about it afterwards. According to him, his father could not sit through a conversation with anyone for over 30 minutes because of how much it would exhaust him. According to Francis, for over 40 years, his father did not have a single day of normal health, and no doctor could figure out what was wrong with him. Because of the hyper-anxiety type symptoms that would happen to Charles Darwin when he would meet people, he ended up arranging his life in a way that there was almost no one in it. He lived in a house in the countryside and took the same walk at the same hour for decades. And inside that quiet life he had built for himself, he spent 8 years studying barnacles. Think about that. Barnacles, the grey shells stuck to the rocks at the beach. He studied them until he could see differences that nobody until that point of time had ever noticed. And I don't think his social anxiety and agoraphobia and his deep sensitivity to detail are disconnected. They're two sides of the same hand that he was dealt. I think most people have a bit of a screen between them and the world. And this screen helps filter out data which may not be necessary for basic survival. It helps normal people get through a Tuesday. Darwin perhaps did not have the screen. And in most creative people, I feel the screen is removed to varying degrees. I feel that the same sensory overload that would put him in bed if he spent more than 30 minutes with a person was the same reason he could look at a barnacle for 8 years straight, which everyone else had walked right past. If you're a creative person, you've probably been told that you're hypersensitive or hyper-aware, that making a big deal out of nothing is your hobby. But this hypersensitivity is the same lack of screen that Darwin had, and it only looks like a fault from the outside to people who are fundamentally not creative. This hypersensitivity is a double-edged sword that every creative person I feel is given. Without anxiety and illness, I would have been a ship without a rudder. Edvard Munch. Edvard Munch painted the Scream, which I'm guessing you've probably seen an image of. And he was not well for most of his life, and he was hyper aware of it. And for years, he also refused to do anything about it. And he was very clear on why he refused to do anything about it. According to him, his sufferings were integral to him, and his art and his suffering were inseparable in his mind. According to him, getting rid of his suffering would destroy his ability to create. He held on to this belief till 1908 when he got so sick that he had to be admitted to a Copenhagen clinic for 8 months. He was treated with everything they had at the time, including electroshock treatment. This feeling of equating suffering with creativity is a feeling I think every creative holds inherently, at least at some level. The quiet suspicion that if everything became nice and calm and settled, you would have nothing left in you worth saying. The belief that whatever is interesting about you and whatever is wrong with you are the same thing, and you can't rid yourself of your suffering without removing your creativity as well. Edvard Munch believed that completely, but here's a part that I wanted to think about. After he left that clinic, he lived for another 35 years and painted for all of them. So maybe the suffering and the creativity weren't as connected as he thought them to be. Writing is a reward for serving the devil. Franz Kafka. Franz Kafka spent his days working at an insurance agency in Prague and spent his nights writing. While he was alive, almost nobody read a word of it. And before dying at the age of 40 in 1924, he left instructions for his closest friend, Max Brod, to burn every page of what he had written without reading it. The thing I've never been able to shake off is that Brod had already told him that he would never burn his work, and instead he would try and get it published. So Kafka at some level knew that his work would survive, but he left that instruction for Brod anyway, the one person who had already refused to burn his work. It's a strange contradiction which makes more sense if you start understanding what Kafka's views were on his gift of being able to write. It was not that he thought his work was bad. He had come to believe that the thing or the feeling that made him write was not on his side, that it had taken his sleep and his health and any possibility of a normal life, and that nobody had told him what it would cost. He had come to suspect that his creative gift was a curse. This feeling I feel is different from the feeling of not being good enough, or that your work isn't being heard or seen. This is a feeling of enslavement, that the creative pulse is in control of you and not the other way around, and that you are a slave to its whims. The sense that the thing that you love feeds on you and your soul, that you are not making it as much as being used by it, that somewhere back when you were young, you agreed to something without understanding the cost of the agreement, and that you have been paying that cost off ever since. One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star. Friedrich Nietzsche. In the autumn of 1802, Beethoven was 31 years old and he was going deaf. His doctor had sent him out to a village close to Vienna, hoping that the rest and the quiet would bring his hearing back. He had been hiding the fact that he had been losing his hearing for almost 6 years by then, unable to say out loud that a composer could not hear. And in this village close to Vienna, he sat down to write a letter. This was a letter to his brothers where he told them everything. He told them for how long he had been losing his hearing and how alone this had made him feel, and that he had come very close to ending it, and that the only thing that kept him going was that his work was not finished. He could not go before he had put down everything that he felt was inside him. He wrote this letter, folded it and kept it away. This letter was found in a drawer 24 years later after he had died. Nearly all the music that the world knows from him came after he had written this letter. And this was besides the fact that nothing about his hearing improved. He kept losing his hearing slowly till none of it was left. From this story and Nietzsche's line, I infer a simple thing, that you do not have to finish being a mess and sort yourself out before you start doing the work that you really want to do. Most of us have been raised on the opposite idea, that you first sort yourself out and then do what your heart desires. But the people whose stories we remember did not do that. They worked from inside the chaos and truly birthed dancing stars. If you stayed for so long, thank you so much for watching, and please let me know in a comment, has being creative ever cost you something? If you like the work I do here, please click join below and become a Fuzz Culture community member. It really helps me to keep creating these videos. As a musician myself, here's a song I made recently that I'm really proud of, and I'm excited to say that new music is coming very soon. And if you prefer more of these talking head style of essays, here's a video that I think you might like. If you liked or felt anything, please leave a comment. I would love to connect with you.